It is a rare and trembling moment in history when a man in chains commands more authority than the emperor upon the throne. Deep within the hostile heart of the Byzantine court, Abdullah ibn Hudafa stood alone, starved, outnumbered, and surrounded by the terrifying roar of boiling oil intended for his flesh. The Roman tyrant offered him half a kingdom to sell his conscience, and when gold failed, he unleashed archers to shatter his resolve. Yet, where others would have crumbled, this companion of the prophet revealed a spiritual fortitude that turned the prospect of torture into a humiliating defeat for his captors. He did not weep for fear of death, he wept because he possessed only one soul to sacrifice for his Creator. This is not merely a tale of endurance, but a profound lesson on the immense power of dignity when the world tries to buy your principles. How did a defenseless prisoner force a superpower to his knees and secure the freedom of hundreds with a single, calculated gesture? To miss the details of this encounter is to miss one of the greatest psychological victories ever recorded in the annals of faith. During the Caliphate of Umar ibn Al-Khattab, the Muslim armies pressed north towards the Levant. Among the ranks rode a man of Quraysh, Abdullah ibn Hudafa, known not for his sword, but for his unshakable wit and spirit. The Byzantine Romans, hearing of the Muslims' advance, sought to capture their commanders. In a fierce skirmish near Caesarea, Abdullah was surrounded, outnumbered, and finally dragged from his horse in chains. The Roman soldiers did not kill him. They had standing orders: bring the companions of the prophet alive. They believed these men possessed a strange, supernatural power that fueled their victories. Abdullah was marched for days, bound and beaten, until they reached the capital. He was thrown into a dark cell, the heavy iron of the Romans biting into his wrists, yet his tongue remained moist with the remembrance of Allah. Word reached the Roman emperor, Heraclius or his representative, that a distinguished companion had been captured. Intrigued by the legends of these desert warriors, the emperor ordered Abdullah to be brought to the royal court. The throne room was a spectacle of gold and velvet, designed to crush the spirit of any barbarian. Abdullah entered, disheveled and dusty, yet he walked with the dignity of a king, his head held high. The emperor stared at the ragged prisoner. "So, you are one of the companions of Muhammad?" he asked through a translator. Abdullah replied simply, "I am one of those who followed him." The emperor sought to test Abdullah's faith. "I have a proposition," the emperor said, leaning forward. "Convert to Christianity, and I will not only set you free, but I will grant you immense riches." Abdullah did not hesitate. His voice rang clear in the silent hall, "I have no need for your wealth. My Islam is not for sale, not for gold, nor for silver, nor for the sun if you could place it in my hand." The emperor frowned. He was used to men breaking for gold. "Then I will give you a share of my kingdom," he offered. "You shall rule alongside me, powerful and mighty, if you but leave your faith." Abdullah smiled, a smile that unnerved the court. "By Allah," he said, "even if you gave me all you possess, and all that the Arabs possess, to leave the religion of Muhammad for the blink of an eye, I would not do it." The court gasped. A prisoner refusing an empire? The emperor's curiosity turned to cold anger. "Then I shall kill you," the tyrant threatened, his voice dropping to a sinister whisper. "Do as you please," Abdullah replied calmly, looking the emperor in the eye. "You have power over my body, but you have no path to my soul. That belongs to Allah alone." The emperor signaled his guards. "Crucify him," he roared. They dragged Abdullah to a wooden post and tied him tight. The archers lined up, knocking their arrows, waiting for the signal. The emperor commanded the archers in their own tongue, "Shoot near his hands. Shoot near his feet. But do not kill him yet." He wanted to see the Muslim tremble. Arrows hissed through the air, thudding into the wood inches from Abdullah's skin. Splinters flew. Yet Abdullah stood like a statue, not blinking, not flinching, his lips moving in silent prayer. The emperor watched for fear, but found none. Frustrated, he ordered the archers to stop. "Take him down," he barked. "This man does not fear death by steel. Let us try the torture of the belly." Abdullah was thrown back into a dungeon. For 3 days, he was given no food and no water. His throat parched, his stomach cramping, he lay in the darkness, waiting for the next trial. On the 4th day, the guards placed a dish before him, roasted pork and a flask of fine wine. The aroma filled the small cell. They watched through the bars, waiting for his hunger to break his lull. Abdullah looked at the food. His body screamed for sustenance, but his heart refused. He sat in the corner, ignoring the meal, reciting verses of the Quran to distract from the pain. Another 3 days passed. The guards reported to the emperor, "He has not touched it. If he remains like this, he will die, and you will lose your prize." The emperor was baffled. The emperor summoned him again. "Why did you not eat?" he demanded. "In your law, is it not permitted to eat forbidden food if you are starving to death?" "It is permitted," Abdullah rasped, his voice weak but steady. "But I did not want to give you the satisfaction of seeing Islam humiliated. I would rather die hungry than feed your arrogance." The emperor was enraged. This man was defeating him without lifting a finger. He ordered his soldiers to bring a massive copper cauldron and fill it with oil. A fire was lit beneath the cauldron. The oil began to heat, then smoke, and finally boil with a terrifying roar. The heat radiated through the square, forcing the onlookers back. The emperor ordered another Muslim prisoner to be brought out. "Throw him in," he commanded. The guards seized the man and cast him into the boiling oil. The scene was horrific. In mere moments, the prisoner's flesh separated from his bones, and he was gone. Abdullah watched, his eyes wide with sorrow for his brother, but his resolve unbroken. Now, the emperor pointed at Abdullah. "Cast him in." The guards seized Abdullah. He did not struggle physically, but tears began to stream down his face. The emperor saw the tears and signaled the guards to halt. "Wait," he shouted, triumph gleaming in his eyes. "He cries. He has finally broken. Bring him to me." Abdullah was brought back to the throne. "So," the emperor sneered, "you weep? You are afraid of the fire? Convert now, and I will spare you this agony." Abdullah wiped his tears. "You are mistaken," he said. "I do not cry out of fear of your fire. I cry because of a thought that just crossed my mind." "And what thought is that?" the emperor asked, skeptical. The court leaned in to hear the submission of the Muslim. "I cried," Abdullah said, "because I realized I have only one soul. In a moment, you will cast it into that pot, and it will depart for Allah. It is too small a sacrifice." He continued, "I wish I had as many souls as there are hairs on my body, so that each one could be thrown into that boiling oil for the sake of Allah. That is why I weep." The emperor sat back, stunned. The logic was alien to him. This man wished to die 1,000 deaths. There was no torture that could threaten a man who desired pain as a path to his Lord. The emperor realized he could not defeat this man. To kill him now would be a defeat. The prisoner had won the psychological war. The emperor sought a way to save his own dignity. "I will let you go," the emperor said quietly, "if you do one thing for me." Abdullah looked at him cautiously. "What is it?" "Kiss my forehead," the emperor said. It was a request for a symbolic gesture of respect, a small victory to save face before his court. Abdullah thought quickly. To kiss the forehead of a tyrant was distasteful. But the life of a believer was valuable. He saw an opportunity to turn this into a greater victory. "I will kiss your forehead," Abdullah said, "on one condition." The emperor raised an eyebrow. "You are in no position to make conditions, but speak." "I will do it," Abdullah declared, "only if you release all the Muslim prisoners in your dungeons. Every single one." The emperor laughed. "You trade a kiss for an army?" But he looked at Abdullah's fierce eyes and knew the man would not budge. "Very well," the emperor agreed. "Release them." Abdullah stepped forward. He approached the Roman emperor, the enemy of his faith, and placed a kiss on his forehead. It was not a kiss of submission, but a kiss of ransom. The gates of the dungeons were thrown open. Hundreds of Muslims, emaciated and weary, stumbled out into the light, bewildered by their sudden freedom. They gathered around Abdullah, realizing what he had done. He had purchased their lives with his dignity. They marched out of the Roman capital, a procession of freedom led by the man who defied an empire. The journey back to Medina was long, but their hearts were light. Word traveled ahead of them, faster than the wind. Abdullah is coming. And he brings the prisoners. They arrived in Medina, the city of the Prophet. The Caliph, Umar ibn Al-Khattab, rushed out to meet them. He saw the crowd of freed men and the beaming face of Abdullah. Umar listened to the story. He heard of the wealth refused, the torture endured, the boiling oil, and the kiss that saved hundreds. The Caliph's eyes filled with tears of pride. Umar stood before the people and declared, "It is a duty upon every Muslim to kiss the forehead of Abdullah ibn Hudafa." And then, the Caliph of the Muslims, the ruler of an expanding empire, stepped forward. He took Abdullah's head in his hands and kissed his forehead, honoring the man who honored Islam. May Allah grant us the unshakable dignity of Abdullah ibn Hudafa when the world tries to compromise our principles. If this victory moved your heart, type Radiallahu Anhu to honor his legacy and share in the blessings of remembering the righteous. Join our growing Ummah by tapping follow to receive weekly stories that soften the heart and strengthen the soul. May Allah accept your witness and gather you with the righteous companions in Jannah.